by Jae-jun. The header is good, and it's the giant defender John Tae-wook, and eventually Korea have broken the deadlock.
You're listening to the K-League United podcast, proud partner of Football Nation Radio.
Hello, I'm Seo Ryan Walters once again in a live version of the K-League United podcast, and I am joined this week by Matthew Binns.
Hello.
And Dan Croydon.
Hello. Hey.
Gentlemen, welcome. There's only one spot we could start today. Luckily, we're doing this live, so the news is still relevant, and that's the saga that was Graham Arnold coming to FC Seoul. It's finally over. It went on for...
I missed it. The whole thing. It started.
My DMs blew up for like 5 minutes straight of just like people in Australia like, what is this? Is this happening? What's going on? And then like I was like, hang on, I'll be right back. By the time I got back to it, it was like, oh nope, Graham Arnold has turned down FC Seoul and won't be joining them. I think it lasted for an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I love how the rumors just linked him to an unnamed K-League Seoul team. That's or something like that. Like,
maybe.
Well, one of those teams has a manager, so it must be the other one.
Yeah, unnamed Chinese club. I'm surprised they didn't get a mention in there. They always get a mention. But yes, the saga that was. So Graham Arnold is still with the Socceroos for the time being. Anyway, that definitely didn't feel like some sort of PR spin that Seoul got thrown into at all. But we'll see what happens with Seoul and their manager. We will be talking a little bit about Seoul today, but gentlemen, we've got you two in here because this is the battle royale. This is what we've been waiting for. We've got Dan and Binns are just going to just throw each other down and just keep punching until one walks away with that awesome looking trophy.
Well, I mean, I believe Dan can't actually win the K-League United's Writers belt this season. It's potentially going to Pohang if they continue their form this weekend. But, if Muyol's Daegu can hold on to it, then, it could be nice trophy at the end of the season for Jeonbuk there, really, and me. And
really, Jeonbuk just has not had enough trophies in their time.
They haven't had that one.
There it is. There it is. On camera for those watching live. For those of you watching on the podcast, you can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at K-League United. Enough of that. Anyway, gentlemen, let's talk about it because we've got a lot to get to this week. Dan, I'm very happy to see you smiling when we came in because I don't know if that's going to last in the first segment because we're going to be talking about the East Coast Derby disaster that was for Ulsan. And yes, we had a little bit on Twitter during the match. I'm real curious to get your thoughts on that. So we'll be talking about that whole debacle and, the 4 goals that Ulsan shipped once again to their East Coast rivals there. 4-0 that one finished, but we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about the relegation battle, as always, and we're going to talk about the fact that Seoul is finally safe. Maybe that's why the managerial rumors came up today. Seoul is mathematically safe from the relegation battle, but it's far from done because of the win that they got in Seongnam. And then we're going to kick Dan out. We're going to bring Michael Redmond in, and we're going to talk about the K2 playoff battle and everything that's going on there, including a 7-goal thriller down in Suwon that I wasn't there for. I managed to talk myself out of making the trip that day and am in no way super upset about that. Don't worry about it. Then we're going to kick Michael out, bring Dan back in, talk about Ulsan versus Jeonbuk coming up this weekend. And then all of us are going to be in here. The gang's all going to be here for a 4-person mailbag at the very end. So lots to get to. And gentlemen, let's hop in with what we have to do. Dan, what is wrong with playing junior from the start? Why is that bad?
Well, yeah, I thought you might lead with that. Look, I don't have an issue with it at all. I thought it was the correct decision. Johnson's been good for a while. He played both other derbies. He played whilst when we beat them at the FA Cup semi-final a couple of weeks ago. He started and scored on the previous derby, so it wasn't a surprise at all. I knew Junior had come on second half. Mm-hmm. He's not frozen out completely. I think, you don't buy €1 million striker and just sit him on the bench. He's there for that kind of game. And I thought he was great first half. So, no complaints there at all. Yeah.
Fair enough. Still, I just think when you've got a striker that's done what Junior's done this year, you start him in this match because this was such an important match for Ulsan to prove that they could win these big games. And that's just getting your team off on the wrong foot. I think Bjorn Janssen, I think he is underutilized at Ulsan. I think he does have a lot of talent. I think he's quite good. But, when you start with Junior and Wandu J on the bench,
well, it sounds like he can't win then if he's underutilized, but you don't want him to play. I don't get it.
Not against Pohang. Not in this must-win match. Not to start.
Well, he played him before, though. This is the tactic, and it worked well. He created 2 great chances early on. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. There's some other things to talk about, but I mean, in terms of Johnson's performance, I thought he was great first half, linking up with Kim In-sung. And you could see what he was trying to do.
And I think we're gonna have to bounce all over with this match because so much happened. And on the note of Bjorn Janssen, I think Matt, you brought this up in our group chat while we were watching, and then posted it on Twitter. You look panicked. Me throwing to you here. The red card, and I'll toss this to you first because you brought this up in the group chat. The red card means that he's out for the season.
Yeah, him and obviously Dave Bultwees, who got a red card earlier. I'm sure we're going to talk about both instances in more detail, but that puts them out for Jeonbuk and then the final match against Gwangju as well, which, I guess it means Junior will start then. So you'll get your wish, Ryan.
Don't be surprised if he doesn't.
No.
He'll stick Park Jong-in up there again.
Yeah, so the reason that both of them are out, they each got a red card in the second half. Dave Bultwees, I don't think there's a lot that we can complain about there. I mean, Ilyachenko came out in the 3rd minute and did what he's been doing lately, the hottest striker in K-League right now. He gets a goal in the 3rd minute, which I think for me, Dan, going back to the lineup choices, this is the thing of like, to me, you have to put your absolute best players out there, your strongest lineup out there, and I just don't think Kim Do-hoon has done that.
Well, Pavlyuchenko didn't start for Pohang either.
Palasevich, yeah, he didn't start there.
Yeah, Pavlyuchenko used to play for Spurs. I get them mixed up.
Well, if you take Ilyachenko and Palasevich and you combine them into one super amazing player, that's who you got. Right? Yeah. If you can combine them into one, I want him to play for Jeonnam. But Ilyachenko goes out in the 3rd minute and does what he does, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty tight, cagey affair. But then Dave Bultwees puts in a tackle from behind, and I don't think we can really complain about that red.
Well, hang on. Wait a moment on this one. I've got a problem with this one in that I think he was offside. And,
actually, that is a good point.
In terms of VAR, I'm not going to complain too much about it because what happens in the Premier League right now is that they have that VAR where they do it down to the centimetre, with those, exact intricate lines. I'm not really into that. If the ref goes and has a look and by sight he thinks he's onside, then I'm not going to complain too much. I don't want to go down that whole route of VAR. So I thought he was marginally offside. Perhaps he wasn't. Fair enough. I'm okay with the first red card. Yes.
But the second one, however, so for those that didn't watch the match, Bjorn Janssen is getting up, and to me, and I don't make these calls, he's trying to get his leg around the guy. I did not see this as a lash out at all. Matt, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. Was this a red card?
No, it wasn't. I think it was not given enough analysis by the referee. I think the decision was made too quickly. I could probably see how it was given in the heat of the moment, but I think you've got VAR for that reason, and either it made it look worse, but I don't even think it did. I think it was just it wasn't a red.
Well, if you looked at the angle, like behind his head, it looks like you could only see the foot coming down on his head, right? But I think the above angle showed that he's just trying to get his leg on the ground so he can stand up. He's not kicking out.
I mean, his leg doesn't come down on the head. His leg goes around, like you said. If you watch both his legs, he's actually, spread eagled, if you want to use that term, to get either side of him to avoid, kicking in. The foot actually makes contact when it hits the floor and bounces up.
Right.
And what it is that their player, I think it was Kang Sang-woo, he's already holding his head when he goes down. He's trying to protect his head. He's expecting him to land on top of him. But when he feels contact from a boot, the theatrics come in. He starts rolling around. Their bench is up. And my biggest problem with it is the ref's got his red card out even before he's arrived on the scene. You could see that he was going to be sent off. He's made an instant decision and he doesn't want to back down. My other big problem with it is that he should have sent off one of their players within 10 minutes. It was Lee Gwang-hyuk, who's gone in at least 1 foot, maybe 2 studs up on Jeonbuk Garam, but he hasn't sent him off because I think he thought it was too early. It was a nailed on red for me. He gave him a booking, but I think it should have been a red.
Yeah, like you say, I think maybe it might have been in the back of his mind that it was a little bit early for that one. But surprise.
The rest of the nightmare, basically. I think he's one of the main reasons we lost. The other, unfortunately, is Dave Bulthuis. He was to blame for the first goal as well. We've had a couple of problems recently conceding early on. We did, of course, against Jeonbuk last time we played them. That was within a couple of minutes. And this time, Bulthuis has just let Ilyachenko go, on the first corner of the game. And then, of course, he gets the red for a silly challenge that I don't think he really had to make. So, yeah, I'm putting this one down to a couple of bad performances, one on our team and, unfortunately, one from the official.
I think, okay, just to put a cap on the match, that obviously had an effect. 2 red cards, surprise, surprise. Pohang went on to score 3 more. Ilyachenko got a brace. Palisevich came on and he got a brace. But I think for me, the thing is, it's just another big game where the roof just caved in. I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, but to me, it can't happen this many times and still be coincidence. That it just keeps happening and the roof keeps caving in on Ulsan right when they're right there. So, Matt, I'll bring you in again. I'm throwing you under the bus for these ones today. Is this one, and I'm going to come to you on this one as well, Dan, but is this something that Ulsan can recover from?
Recover? I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't say that this was. I wouldn't say they threw this one away. Precisely, I think, as we've kind of touched on, Kim Do-hoon had no control over the red cards in this match. He has no control over if Dave Bulthuis is going to have a good match or not. That just he put the best team out, what he thought was the best team out there, and as Dan says, it was a team that has done well against Pohang twice already this season. So the evidence would suggest it would be fine based on the first half. It was quite even, despite Pohang having the perhaps the better opening 15 minutes before Ulsan coming back into it. So can't really say that he's done wrong there. The issue now is it's a fresh issue, and that's whether he can do it against Jeonbuk, and that's what we're going to be going into later, I think. And they've got to look at, is it a separate issue? Because perhaps, yes, they've collapsed to Pohang here, but it's not the usual. I don't think you can point the fingers at the usual issues in this one. Whereas we're going into Jeonbuk on Sunday, that's where we might think, well, now he might do it again because the pressure, the points are level. So this is when Kim Do-hoon works his tactical masterclass, usually.
On that note, Dan, I'll come to you. Two quick questions for you to get us out of this segment, and then we'll come back and talk about the relegation battle. How much of this do you think Kim Do-hoon should shoulder? And I think I got your answer there already. And can Ulsan bounce back?
Yeah, on Kim Do-hoon, no, I think he's got us playing fantastic football. I just want to stick up for the guy a little bit. I got to say, the podcast the last few weeks, I haven't been on, unfortunately. I was a bit busy last week, but you guys have been a bit too negative about him, I think.
Me? Negative about Kim Do-hoon?
Yeah.
I would never.
It's been a bit of a broken record, to be honest. He, if you look at if you take a step back and look where we were when he came in, we were finishing mid-table. He's got us from his first year, 2017, we're fourth, then third, last year second. This year we've been first most of the season. So, and I honestly think if this was a full season, I think we're gonna, we wouldn't run away with it, but the cushion might be a bit bigger than it is. It was always going to be a close season with only 27 games. We just don't lose to anyone apart from Pohang and Jeonbuk. And, you can say that that's something, some fault in Kim Do-hoon's management, but you got to give him the credit for basically running the league, dominating every other team for almost 2 years now. He's not a bad manager. No. All the evidence is there that he is an awesome K-League manager.
Except in the big games.
Right. Except for if we win this Sunday, then all of a sudden he's awesome. So, I mean, if we put it into perspective, we're still underdogs. We're not Jeonbuk. We're not spending, 4 million in a winter transfer, a summer transfer market because we don't like the foreigners we bought in the previous one. We're not on, the names are the same, Hyundai, but we're not on the same level as them. We're always trying to bat up to where they are. They've been champions for goodness knows how many times,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit, irking to hear this negativity about a guy who's actually trying to make this league competitive when you compare them to someone like Pohang, who, fantastic. They've won 22 out of the last 24 points. But where were they at the beginning of the season, They haven't put together any kind of silverware run for years now. There's only Ulsan that are really giving this a go.
Well, Pete says Pohang's going to win next season, and we've got one in the mailbag about Kim Do-hoon. So I'm gonna put a pin in it for now. I'll say you make some fantastic points. We'll get back to, as we always do, we'll get back to Kim Do-hoon, but we're going to take a really quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about the relegation battle.
FNR is a revolutionary football-dedicated digital platform, the first of its kind in Australia. It provides a 24/7 live online radio platform experience, podcast hub, and acts as a content provider for TV, radio, and digital. Having reached millions of listeners and football fans since launching, FNR is accessible worldwide via its website or app, providing a platform to discuss, debate, and celebrate the world game. We are your voice of football, FNR Football Nation Radio.
Welcome back to the K-League United podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walters, joined by Dan Croydon.
Hello.
And look, Matthew, I got to call you out on this. During the break, Matthew's just chugging from an orange juice carton. Just going for it. I give you credit, sir. It is one of the joys in life. But I couldn't let it go. I had to let the people know.
I have no idea what you're on about. All lies. All lies.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We've spent some time talking about the top end of the table with Ulsan and whether or not their managers to blame for things. Again, we'll come back to that. Let's look at the bottom of the table now, and let's talk about Seoul being saved by the man that we've been calling the young Wookiee for a little while, lovingly calling Cho Young the young Wookiee. And he came on as a sub, and he scored the match winner in Songnam. Thank whatever deity you may or may not believe in for me, because I made the trip down there and I wanted to see a goal and ended up seeing one in the end. And it was enough to save Seoul. And in the same match, we see Ki Sung-young come back. And now, all of a sudden, this team, they don't need to worry about relegation anymore. They can shift focus onto ACL. So, Matthew, is this going to be a moment that they can turn things around late and make a decent showing in ACL?
No. They're not good enough. They're in a lower half with worse teams. Yeah, you expect them to be safe. They've got Ki Sung-young and they're versing the bottom six. I mean, fine, you're safe. I mean, nobody really expected them to get relegated, as fun as it would be. But no, they're going to go to the Champions League. They haven't got a manager still, and they're going to get absolutely thrashed. And they Seoul have to rebuild, right? Okay, they're going to have a little foray to Qatar for a week or so. But ultimately, they're just going to get beaten very quickly. If they get through the group stage, then fair play to them, but they're going to get knocked out by the first good team they come up against. And Seoul's rebuild, yes, they have to be safe. Seoul's rebuild now will be in January. As we've seen today, there was rumours putting them with Graham Arnold. Never going to happen. But at least they can start toying with these rumours. And after the season Seoul's had on the pitch, off the pitch, marketing issues, how to handle a marquee player coming in and then not really pushing him out there for people to see. I think they need to have a look at themselves behind the scenes, and also the team they're putting out. But yeah, fine, they won eventually against a poor Songnam side that we've all tipped for relegation at the beginning of the season and could possibly well go down. So yeah, fair play to them. Congratulations, you're safe. You're going to get thrashed in Asia.
Matthew Pins. I love it. All right, Dan, let's keep the focus slightly on Seoul, but more about the result that they had there, because they did pull off the win, and that meant that Songnam remains just 1 point ahead of Incheon United. So the Great Escape is still on, thanks to Seoul. An odd weekend for Incheon United fans, where they had to cheer for both Seoul and Suwon in the same weekend. And both of them kind of did some favors, but let's start with this one and the fact that Songnam is still just 1 point above Incheon. They have a poor goals scored record as of right now. They have 20 goals scored to Incheon's 22. So if you're Songnam and you haven't won since the split, you got thrashed by Incheon. Should we just put a fork in them now? Are they done?
Well, I mean, in terms of the match, all I've got written down in my notes here is barely watchable.
Come on, it wasn't
YouTube highlights less than 5 minutes. When most of the time it's 8 to 12, and I think that just kind of sums it up. Seoul got the job done, but man, they made hard work of it against what is a pretty poor Songnam side. I fear for them in that I don't think they can really do it. When they're playing against the likes of Gangwon and Suwon and Seoul, when they're already safe, they still struggle in those games. And they're going to struggle when they come up against those around them, Busan and Incheon. I think out of the three, Busan, Songnam, and Incheon, I just don't see them winning a game. They just don't have the firepower. And I don't think they've quite got the fight either. So, yeah, Songnam, they worry me a lot. I tipped them to go down at the beginning of the season, but I thought it might be through the playoff. But, I think there's a good chance that they'll finish bottom, unfortunately.
Yeah, they've got a big match coming up this weekend at Suwon. And like you say, I think the form that they've been in, it's tough to see them really getting a result there. And you also tipped it here, Busan, rather, not Bucheon yet. Bucheon's not up here. Busan, they have to travel to Incheon this weekend. And those are two teams that, like you say right now, it's hard to see them getting a win. Busan, however, did manage to get a draw against Suwon. This is another match that honestly, the less we talk about it, the better. It was 0-0. And, job done for both sides in a way. Because Suwon, they were already safe, but for Busan, it's a very, very vital point for them. And that means that if they win this weekend, then they're good. But Matthew, is Incheon going to do it? Are they going to beat Busan this weekend?
They could have a good go at it. It's Incheon, isn't it? Like we're all sitting here waiting. It's like the Coca-Cola advert. Christmas is coming. Incheon's going to survive and start buying Christmas presents and get your thermal on. But yeah, it's Incheon. I think they've got enough firepower. But Busan, they've looked a little bit better since they've changed manager, but not really. They look good against Seoul, but so do many. Not getting back into that though. But yeah, Incheon they need to focus on this Busan match, because they have got Seoul, and despite what I've said about them, the Seoul game would be it's going to be a crunch final encounter, and being a bit of a local derby as well, FC Seoul could take a bit of pleasure in consigning their rivals to the K-League 2. So yeah, Incheon need to be fired up for this.
I think the interesting thing there, though, like you say, Seoul's going to host Incheon on the final match day, which is on Halloween. So that'll be a fun celebration. I might even dress up for that one. I won't, but I could. But maybe. Anyway, that's what's happening there. And Seoul doesn't have anything to play for, whereas Songnam, they're going to host Busan that day. And that could be the relegation game right there, especially if Incheon can get a win this weekend. That's absolutely massive, because then maybe they don't need to win at Seoul again, which is something that they haven't done in a long time.
But the thing is with Songnam is that they are far better away from home than they are at home.
Yeah,
I got it here that they've got only 6 points at home all season, only one win, compared to 16 away points, and they've actually won more games away from home than Sangju and Daegu. They've won 4 away from home. Those clubs only 3. Their home form is the problem. It's not even form, is it? It's a
right.
It's a disaster.
I think as well, speaking of home and away, like Incheon have always survived at home on the final day, and this will be the first time in many seasons where they'll be away from home. And due to the COVID rules, that means there's going to be no away fans there backing them up, while there will be quite a lot of Seoul fans in that stadium, which could make things fall in favour of the home side of it as well. So yeah, Incheon really do need to find something against Busan this weekend.
Yeah, should be. I love this time of year. The relegation battle is going nuts. And again, Suwon is going to be hosting Songnam. That's a derby there. That's on Friday. And then Incheon's going to host Busan on Saturday. So should be a fun one there. But we're going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to talk about the teams that are trying to get up and avoid this battle next year. We're going to talk about K-League 2 right after a quick break. We'll be right back.
Fans, we want to hear from you. You're encouraged to email KLU at info@kleagueunited.com or tweet at KLeague United with any questions, comments or reactions. Or follow us on Facebook to ask directly during one of our live shows.
Welcome back to the K-League United podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walters, and I am joined by Matthew Binns.
Hello.
And we're playing musical chairs. Michael Redmond's here.
Oh, hello there.
Michael, you've been waiting in the wings this whole time. So we could talk about what everybody really wants to talk about. And I know I say that every time, but my goodness, K-League 2 is fun.
Look, come on now. You save the best for last, as you always say. Who wants to bother about the top of the league when the second division is all where the parties are? And I tell you something, once again, it is.
Oh, it's fantastic right now, because we've got Jeju and Suwon going back and forth for the title. And in third place, after a massive weekend, we have the Jeonnam Dragons. As you've said before with Seoul Elan, I feel like we're getting a nosebleed being up this high. It's ridiculous. And a massive win, 4-3 over Suwon. And this match was nuts. This was absolutely insane.
I watched the second half. I looked at my phone and I went for a walk on Sunday afternoon, and it was like 3-1 Jeonnam. Oh my goodness, we've lost third, we've gone to fourth, and they went to 3-2. And then Suwon pulled it back to 3-3. I thought, okay, Suwon's doing us a favour here now. And then I managed to get the second half on, and then heroics with Jeonnam at the end. Honestly, I was like, oh, but fair play to Jeonnam. They didn't claw it back because they were ahead for a lot of the game and then drew.
Yeah.
It was a strange one because they went ahead with 3 goals, so they showed the firepower, and then they just fell asleep. And Ryan, you've talked about this many times. Jeonnam are not a team who concede goals. They're a very defensive side.
Yeah, I think this was a very rare, very, very bad day out for Park Jun-hyuk in net. I mean, the second and third for Suwon are 100% on him, and you just don't see that often. And for me, in a way, because the Dragons ended up getting the win here, I think that's kind of an encouraging sign, because he doesn't play that badly that often. And they went and they beat Suwon even with him playing that badly and even giving up an own goal. They went and beat the team that they might have to go and beat if they want to get promoted, because as of right now, if the playoffs started today, Jeonnam would be hosting, and they would play host to, well, some very fancy team named Seoul Eland.
Look, I still don't want to say anything about this because I still don't quite believe it. There's many times I've been on this podcast and I've said the same thing. It's been boring, it's been depressing, it's been the most worst 2 years of watching Seoul Eland. But this year, I don't know what's going on. We've won 10 games this year and I don't know what's happening. We only won 5 last year. We're going on the road and we're winning and we're scoring goals and I don't quite know what to do.
Matthew, you could probably help us out with this. How does one deal with winning?
Oh, every week's a joy. I
don't know why that's how I brought you in here. I'm going to bring you in here. We're going to talk about some misery for a minute, but also some joy because Bucheon ended their historic losing streak, and they did it against Daejeon Hana Citizen. Daejeon is slipping further and further away from the playoff line. What happened? What is going on?
Look, I am all more than welcome for Daejeon falling off a cliff right now, but I don't have a clue what's happened to this team. Did you remember that at the start of the season, they just couldn't stop winning? They were beating anybody. They were beating them in the last minute. They were getting penalties when they needed it most, working as a team. They've just fallen off a cliff. I cannot believe this is the same team that we saw at the start of the season. We thought they were cruising straight up. Now, I want to add it in that they did not defeat Seoul Eland at all in all 3 games last year. This season, 2 wins, 1 draw. So I just wanted to add that one in as well. So, Seoul Eland saw the cracks in Daejeon.
Sure.
On in.
Yeah. Before it was fashionable.
Before it was fashionable, it's good to pass.
Cool.
Scored the first goal in Jamshul. We all knew it was going to be a different story from them.
I mean, Daejeon now are drifting along in 6th. In 6th place, all of a sudden, tied on points with Gyeongnam. And they've each got 33. They're 2 points behind Seoul Eland. They're 3 points behind Jeonnam Dragons. And they've got 3 match days left to do it. So, Matthew, I'm gonna throw you under here for this one because I'm just enjoying throwing you under the bus.
Yeah.
Is Daejeon gonna even make the playoffs?
You have to stop hitting me with these buses, I tell you. Right. Sorry, Paul. No, not this season, and I don't think. It'll depend whether they can do it next season because it was pretty much it's a worst kept secret that Hana Citizen expect promotion. Hana Bank expect promotion for the amount of investment they've put into Daejeon Hana Citizen, and they signed a marquee manager. Yeah, I think what you like about Hwang Sung-hong was what he did at Seoul and the marvelous job there, and and all he's done with Pohang and Busan in the past. And he is got pedigree as a manager. Yeah, sure, he's had his flaws, but they signed him with intent, and they fired him, which I still like. I'm sure he's officially the only manager who's been fired this season. I might be wrong. There might be one I've missed, but most of them have fallen on their swords. Most of them have resigned. Right. For a Korean club to come out and say you've been fired, that's quite strong. And look what they've done since. They've got worse since he's left. Now, there's loads of rumours circulating, like he's not playing the players that the board wanted him to play and things like this. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how true these are, but you think that he still at least had them up there. He at least had them in there, and he got fired after a win. He got a win, that kept Daejeon back in contention, and he got sacked. So I don't think they've not even brought in a permanent manager.
Nope.
Well, actually,
Graham Arnold.
Speaking of the devil, we've got not the devil, but Jung Muriel. He's actually come in with a comment on this, saying that appointing Cho Min-guk as an interim manager took them from bad to worse. Which they've sacked a manager, they want promotion, and then they haven't had anybody in the wings to replace him. You think if you're going to fire him, especially after he's just got a win, they would have somebody lined up, and they don't. I think I'd be worried. My worry is that if I was a Daejeon fan, my worry would be: will the money be there next season? Will the Hana Bank be willing to invest as much?
Yeah, and you've got to. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Michael, we'll come back to you here, and I'm just gonna go ahead. Something on Daejeon?
Well, I was going to say it just rings a bit true about Eland when they started off. They put Martin Rennie in. They expected the Asian Champions League within 3 years. I think Hannah Citizens, they've kind of just thrown money and expected something to stick, and it just hasn't worked out that way. And instead of getting a bit of time to mature and let the team work well and gel together, they've just sacked the manager and thought, right, let's start again. Let's see what we can do. Let's keep going. Why are you not in the playoffs? Why are you not getting promoted? Don't think they understand that it takes a bit of time, a bit of seasoning.
Yeah, I mean, especially K2. There's no rest in K2. It's constant. There's a lot of double game weeks, and it is brutal. And yeah, you need that time. But I mean, one team that is hoping to not spend a lot of time in K League 2 is Jeju United. They're back on top of the table, and Gyeongnam are back below the playoff line. So, Michael, which one of those is more likely to stay that way, do you think?
Look, I was sat today looking at these fixtures, and the big game of the weekend is Suwon versus Jeju. We know that one because if Jeju win, they need a point and they're automatically champions. They're going through. Gyeongnam now, they have Bucheon, Suwon, and Daejeon the last 3 games of the season. Gyeongnam, for me, maybe a bit biased here, they just haven't really done it this season. They have a good team that they seem to be picking up the wins, but they haven't set the world alight like other teams in the playoffs have done, in my personal opinion. I hope personally they fall off and they just don't claim any more points. I think they're going to get a win against Bucheon, but Bucheon are riding high. The first win in 10 games. I think Jeju are going to be first. I think it will be Suwon versus second and third for the last game of the playoff. Jeju just looks strong. And I hate to say that because we're playing them next week on the island. We're playing them away the week after next. And I'm dreading going there because it might be a... Do you know what I mean? Seoul Eland have turned up against big teams this year, but they are just firing all cylinders at the moment, Jeju United.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last time they lost. Like, it's not in my memory bank. They're doing ridiculous things right now. And we had a early mailbag question from Todd Wild asking about Gyeongnam and if they'll be able to sneak into the playoffs. I feel like you've kind of already hit on that one. So I'll just ask you about Seoul Eland then, because you were just talking about Gyeongnam's final couple of matches. You've already hinted at this. Eland do have to go down and face Jeju. How are they going to approach these last 3 matches? Because they're in the playoffs right now, but I mean, Gyeongnam and Daejeon, of all the teams that are going to be knocking on that door, and like Matthew was saying, it is 100% expected that Daejeon comes up to K1 this year. The players they brought, the money that was invested, that is the expectation. So you would expect them to fight for that at some point, but Eland have the spot right now. So how do they approach these last couple of games?
Look, we said this at the start of the season that Eland have a team that could get 6th or 5th or even touch in the playoffs. What we predict is where they are now.
I said 3rd.
You said 3rd, which I hope so. Seoul Eland are on the cusp of something special. They need to treat these last 3 games like their cup finals. Now, if you look at it, Seoul would even be higher if they didn't slip up to Anyang twice, slip up to Ansan the first game, slip up to Chon and Asan twice. These teams that are all lower quality, lower down the table, they just did not turn up against. Who do we have next game? Ansan Green is at home. Away. Ansan Green is at home team. Sorry. We won last time we went to the Ansanhwa. Choi Jae-hoon in the 87th minute or something. Not fact checking or anything, but that for me is more tough than the last game of the season, because the last game of the season we'll need to know, right, we need to go, we need to beat Jeonnam, or a draw is going to be okay, or we've slipped up against Ansan, we've slipped up against Jeju. I think Ansan is going to be one of the busiest, the most important games, because I don't want to say this, but when we went to Anyang on the weekend, I knew we wouldn't pick up 3 points. We just can't beat Anyang away. If Anyang won on Saturday, they would have beat Eland 10 straight home games in a row. Wow. We ruined that. We ruined that 10 game in a row streak. Eland can't beat Anyang away. So the fact that they got a point for me, I'm happy with.
There you go.
They need to go to the WAN. They need to pick up something, because I tell you what, I don't think they're going to pick anything up on the island. I don't think they're going to beat Jeju.
It would be a big ask. Yeah. But I mean, like you say, every point's crucial right now. And that point that they picked up, yeah, I mean, that's what's got a little bit of a cushion for them.
Well, here's the thing, though, as well. Now, for me, not to be more optimistic, Eland have picked the points up against the big teams this year. We've beat Gyeongnam twice and then a 2-2 draw. So we're actually undefeated against Gyeongnam as well. John and we beat them away as well. We beat Daejeon 3 times. We have beaten the big teams. Suwon we got battered by. Jeju we've been battered by. But apart from that, these other teams that are in and around the playoffs, we've actually toed the line and showed that we're actually worthy to be in this position we're in this season.
Yeah. And I like
I
it.
come across very passionate, but like I cannot believe the position we're in, Seoul Eland. If people who've been watching listening to the podcast years did know how deflated I normally am, I still don't believe it. My heads are in the clouds. Honestly, I am getting a nosebleed.
Well, let's hope. I mean, if we end the season in Jeonbuk with the final match of the regular season being Seoul Eland hosting Jeonnam Dragons, and hey, you know what? I would even be fine with them swapping positions and Seoul being third and Jeonnam being fourth, and we could just do it all again in the playoffs. Because then I don't have to travel for 5 hours to go see it happen.
I don't think I have the nerves to even go watch that game, because honestly, these days I'm walking around work and I'm walking around Seoul like this because I'm thinking about the games ahead. I was nervous a week before the Anyang game. The nerves are already kicking in now for the Ansan game on Sunday. And honestly, I never thought it'd be like this. It was a party last year. We lost. It was great. Now we're actually doing something.
Well, again, we'll have to have you consult with Matthew Binns, but we have some questions in the mailbag about K-League 2, but we're going to take a quick break. Michael, we're going to swap you out for Dan one more time, and then we'll all be back for the mailbag, but we'll be right back.
Looking to spend some downtime with friends and fellow gamers in Seoul? Drop by Retro Game Bar. Located in Hongdae near Sangsu Station Exit 1, RGB is a retro game-inspired bar where you can play any and all types of games, test their bartenders' drink mixing capabilities, or watch a gamecast of your choosing. For those with a competitive side, sign up for monthly tournaments including Tekken, Mario Kart, and K-League United's FIFA competitions. Follow RGB on Facebook for tournament info and details on other events throughout the month. Mention that you're a fan of K-League United to their hard-working bartenders when you stop by for a starter shot to kick off the evening. Game on!
Welcome back to the K-League United podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walters, joined once again by the orange juice guzzling Matthew Binns.
Hello.
And Dan Croydon's back.
Hello. Yeah, I haven't got any orange juice. I'm on the water.
Oh, sad times. All right, Dan, we're all on a high right now. Everybody that's listening or watching live is on a high because we talked about K-League 2, and everybody loves K-League 2. Let's stay on that high, Dan, and let's say, okay, I'm for the record, I am on your side, by the way. I would love for Ulsan to get a win this weekend. I am with you. Give me the confidence that this can happen.
You mean we can win the title? Of course we can win the title, yeah.
This weekend. Give me the confidence that they are going to beat Jeonbuk this weekend.
It's actually a better cup final than the actual cup final.
Yeah.
Because it's a one-off?
This is a one-off, and it's a winner-takes-all pretty much. And we're at home. We've got the better goal difference. We've actually looked pretty good against Jeonbuk this year. I know Matt might I think Matt probably agrees with me in certain spells.
I agree with you in the first match.
The first match. I think the first match we could have easily equalized after the red card. I think if we have faith in the style of play, that's got us where we are, we could definitely win this game. I think on the second game as well, we had a great chance just before half time. It fell to Wondu J, it bounced off the post, and he kind of didn't have the body shape to slot it home. But if these games went to 1-1, or we take the lead, then it's a different game to the two we've had so far this season. If we keep it tight, if we take a goal lead, it's a completely different test for Jeonbuk. I think we could easily find ourselves 1-0 up at half time and take it from there.
And then bring Junior on at the half and see how it goes.
I think he might start. I think
He might.
I hope he will.
All right, Matthew, just to set the stage for anybody that's been living under a rock and is somehow interested in this podcast, if that is the case, hey, welcome. Thanks for listening. This is the first of 3 absolutely massive matches between these two teams. This one is essentially going to decide the K1 title, and then they're going to meet twice for the FA Cup. And as of right now, Ulsan, you would have to say, as Dan said, I think they have, I don't think you're going to catch that goals scored record right now. They're 8 ahead of Jeonbuk at the moment.
Never say never. Right? Yeah.
But
Daegu might just collapse.
Giant defense
in the league, are they?
Yeah, well, giant defender Jong Tae-uk's gonna have a nightmare. That's just gonna
right. But here we are again. Ulsan has lost the East Coast Derby to Pohang for the 2nd year in a row, and Ulsan hosts Jeonbuk on the second to last game of the season. These things happened in opposite order last year, but here we are again. The stage is set one more time for Ulsan to essentially win the title. What's Jeonbuk going to do about it? How is Jeonbuk going to approach this game?
They're going to approach it exactly like they've approached the other two. Jeonbuk haven't really dabbled too much in tactical changes this season. What has improved for Jeonbuk is time, really. They've managed to establish a midfield that has been playing consistently. And with that, the results have started to come. Yes, there was a bit of a wobble where they lost those games on the bounce and they drew with Gwangju. But Ulsan didn't capitalise on. Fortunately for Jeonbuk, possibly a criticism of Ulsan there. But Jeonbuk, apart from that, they have looked better with Gustavo and Barrow coming into the side. What that did in turn, while Gustavo maybe hasn't been scoring as much recently, by having a forward that is set in stone, by having a winger that is set in stone, it's kind of made sure that Takehiro Kunimoto is in the middle now. He doesn't move out to the wing. And now I know you don't like that, Ryan, but he's not the best winger in the side. He's not the best winger in the side. Han Kyo-won's a better winger.
I think
Barrow's a better winger. So Takehiro Kunimoto, let him play in the centre. He's been playing in the centre. He's been playing better. Kimbo Kyung has been playing in the centre. Finally, we've been getting this. And Son Jun-ho in defence and midfield. It's just consistency for Jeonbuk. Now, I'm not saying they're light in the world of, because I mean that's been the exact criticism we've been level at them all season. They've been dull at times, Jeonbuk, but they are still dangerous. Like you look at the weekend, all 4 goals were midfielders. They spread the goals around. There's threats everywhere on the pitch. Han Kyo-won has come back from injury and he got a goal. Yeah, I think Gwangju kind of gave up by that point, to be honest. It was a fairly easy one for him, but Han Kyo-won has also scored a goal in each of these games against Ulsan. He's having a career season for him. He's matched his highest number of goals scored in a season with 11, but he's done it in a far shorter period. He's done it with far fewer appearances. So I think there's this consistency building at Jeonbuk. Yeah, I still don't like their tactics. I still don't think the excitement is there, but they are playing better. You look at some of their goals they scored against Gwangju at the weekend and you start thinking, well, okay, there is something there. I think the only thing we might see, and it's the only real time I've seen Moraes do something truly tactical, and that was drop the kids. He did it again. He's only done it once. He did it against Ulsan. He dropped the kids and dropped Cho Kyu-sung to the bench, started with all over 23 team. In doing so, he sacrificed a substitute in the process. And he got the result. Yeah, it was closer than we'd like to admit, but I still think also Jeonbuk had good passages of play on that. I still think it was a deserved victory for that. I do agree with Dan. Maybe the first game probably Ulsan should have done a bit better. I think it was Kim Ki-hee's red card had kind of soured that one there. But so Jeonbuk aren't going to change anything. You could guess the lineup now. I think in terms of neutralising, they're going to put Junior. Junior will be marked by Kim Min-hyuk, and Kim Min-hyuk has been very good this season at taking out target men from games. You look at against Pohang, Ilichenko's not had much luck at all against Jeonbuk this season. Both times Kim Min-hyuk was on him. Each time Kim Min-hyuk was on him. Yes, I know they lost to Pohang the other week, but it was only 1-0, and Jeonbuk did have chances as well. Pohang do allow opportunities on goal. So yeah, it's just a Jeonbuk side that know what they're doing. Yeah, it's not going to be exciting, but sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you just need to have a team that wins, and that's not a smug comment. That's genuinely what it is. It's a team that, despite managerial changes, despite this, there's that mentality that is still there every season. They know how to win it. And yeah, it's all for Ulsan to take. Ulsan only need a draw. Let's be honest. Ulsan need a draw. Then, we can argue a win would be more comfortable, but a draw and then Gwangju, who's got nothing to play for.
To jump in there, I think the result against Pohang might be a bit of a blessing in disguise. If we'd have drawn that game, I think Kim Do-hun might have been a bit more, conservative here. But for me, we have to win. I think, and I think he believes that too. Rather than going for the point and put it all on a win against Gwangju on the final day, he is going to go for the win in this game, I think.
And what do you think are the keys for Ulsan to do that? Because as we touched on, Boltuis is not an option. With that red card, he's suspended for 2 matches, and the same thing for Bjorn Janssen. So, that's going to change things for Ulsan. So what do they have to do to get this win?
Yeah, well, this is the result against Pohang wasn't actually that consequential, I don't think, apart from the suspensions.
Okay.
The result, we lost that game. It could have been 1-0. It was 4-0 because we had 9 men on the pitch. And I think what we did that I liked in that game, actually, was that we didn't try and shut up shop and, rest on one goal. There's no benefit for trying to keep the goals you let in down. I think we still attacked in that game. Yeah. So that was a good point, and I think that's why Kim Do-hun has kind of altered his tactics a little bit and will try and win this game. But in terms of the suspensions, that's the problem. We don't have Johnson to play. I think he might have started this game if he was available, but it's going to have to be Junior up front.
Oh darn!
I know that he's struggled against Jeonbuk in the past. He's not as mobile as Johnson. He doesn't hold the ball up quite as well. He has to drop deep to get into the play a little bit more. So I think one of the keys is our wingers. I think Kim In-sung is going to have to take a chance. He was another one that really should have done a bit better against Pohang. We had a great chance just before half time, and he put it straight into the keeper rather than I thought he could take it around him. A little bit more coolness in front of goal would have made the difference there. So I think some other attacking talents have to play well, and that's one of the keys. In defense, it's going to probably be Kim Ki-hee to cover Boltuis. And we know what happened the first time he played against Jeonbuk this season. Yeah. The other option, of course, is Won-do Jae, who just played for the national team. He made his debut for the national team in central defense.
That's true.
I don't really like him there. He hasn't played for there during this season. I know he did at his old club in Japan at Fukuoka. He was a central defender most of the time there. So that's an option.
I think he's a bit wasted back there, though. I think his vision and his ability to unlock things from the midfield while still being such a strong defensive presence there, I think it would be a little bit of a waste having him at center back. But we got to get Michael back in here for mailbag, and we're running a little bit long here. So I'm going to ask you real quick. Is Ulsan going to win?
Absolutely.
Matthew?
I'm going for a 2-1 win.
Okay, 2-1.
2-0 up, and they'll score second half, and it'll be scary, but we'll win.
Okay. Matthew?
Let's make it fun. Jeonbuk wins. I mean, the only thing is I'd say that not many teams do a clean sweep of other big teams. So my worry is more that we've beat Ulsan twice, so they're owed one. I've just got that football fan doubt in my head, like, well, you can't beat them all. So
can't do it all.
No, but I don't know. I like what I saw against Jeonbuk. I like what I saw for Jeonbuk against Gwangju, and it may only be Gwangju. Ulsan's a very different test, but I think Jeonbuk will get this. It'll be narrow. It's whatever it is, it's going to be tight.
All right. Well, we've got quite a few new folks watching live here tonight, so hello to all the folks that are watching. Keep the comments coming. We'll touch on those. We're going to take a really quick break. We're going to bring Michael back, and we're going to have a jam-packed mailbag. And you know what? We'll just go a little bit long this week in the mailbag, but we'll be right back.
G. Lewis is your neighborhood British bar and cafe located in the Old Giro district of Seoul. Decorated in old English antiques and furniture for a true homely feel, you can enjoy homemade scones, cakes and afternoon tea during the day, and traditional British favorites like beef stew, English ale, and a fine selection of wines at night. Available for private parties or simply an evening out, G. Lewis is sure to become your favorite neighborhood pub. Be sure to mention K-League United at the bar during your visit, and you'll get 10% off your bill.
Welcome back to the K-League United podcast. I am your host, Ryan Walters, joined for a very full edition of the G. Lewis mailbag by Michael Redmond.
Hello there.
Dan Croydon.
Hello.
And our host, and yes, all four of us are in the mailbag together. It's Matthew Binns.
Hello. Yeah, it's a bigger than usual mailbag this week. Not mainly because of the questions, but it's very snug. Winter's coming. Anyway, first out of the mailbag this week is Asri Furman, and I can also see that he's watching on Twitter, so we best answer this one very carefully, everybody. Kim Do-hun has taken Ulsan so close to the title, but it seems they're going to blow it again. If he can't do it again, who do you think can take Ulsan over the line and get the title? I think I'm going to throw this one to Michael.
Just get right in the middle of it.
I'm only here for the K2.
I'll throw it to you, Dan. What do you think?
Seems to be they're going to blow it again. Where's this guy been?
You just got to answer the questions, man.
Yeah,
Don't apologize, Asri. No, don't do that.
I was in the camp that I thought he should have been sacked at the end of last season.
Agreed.
I thought it was the right time for him to go. We were losing a few players, and I thought a new manager could rebuild. They stuck with him, and I think we're better this season than we were last season. So if we fail, I don't want to think about it, but if we fail, I think he does have to go, unfortunately, after the ACL. Maybe what saves him might be an ACL win. That might save his job.
That should do it.
But in terms of names, the name that I heard last season was Shin Tae-young, the ex-national manager, who has been managing, supposedly, Indonesia. The Indonesian national team hasn't played a game, hasn't managed a game because of events of 2020. I don't know if he's sunning himself on the beaches in Indonesia or if he's kicking around at home. But, he's 50 years old. He's won the Champions League with Songnam back in, when was it, 2010. So he's a name that I wouldn't mind to come in. Yeah, he's my pick.
There's one name out there that I'm sure you'd love back, and it'd absolutely break my heart. Well, you'd love him back because he was a player for you, but Choi Kang-hee coming from Shanghai Shenhua, bring Kim Shin-wook back to Ulsan. Make your day, Dan. He'd never come back. He'd never go to it. It's Jeonbuk through and through. But no, I think I'll leave that lingering in Dan's thoughts. But I mean, do you think there would be like a foreign manager that would come in?
Graham Arnold.
We've never had a foreign manager. I'm pretty confident. Well, we certainly haven't in my time. I can't think of one. And to be honest, other than Graham Arnold, I heard, if he's available. Now Seoul haven't got him.
Yep. You missed him. He was available for like 25 minutes.
Right.
Maybe it's Kim Tae-wan. Kim Tae-wan, Sangju manager. But there's a reason why he doesn't get linked with those big jobs. But we do rate him highly. But I don't think he's a
manager of the year.
He should be. He should be. I think he's done a very good job. But yeah, he's not really an Ulsan manager in my eyes. But anyway, we've got Paul Nee via Twitter. Again, never heard of him. But he wants to play devil's advocate. He wants to know, does it matter who wins the league? We said we wanted a title race and not to have the league sewn up weeks in advance. It will go down to the last day again. Isn't that all that matters? And yes, Paul, it does. I agree fully. Next question.
I can't believe you asked that question.
I think that's just so great because they are doing so poorly.
I was going to say, is it the same thing with the playoff race in K-League 2? It doesn't matter who makes the playoffs. It's the
right. As long as we all have a jolly good time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, next is Steve.
I will. Okay. I'll stick up for Paul a little bit here, and I will say that this year and last year has been infinitely easier and more fun talking about K-League than it was in the years where Jeonbuk just ran away with it. And I mean, and Dan, this is also your point that I think Kim Do-hoon has built a good side. I just think that he's proven time and again that he can't win big games and it's time for them to move on. We'll see. He's got a lot of chances to prove me wrong here. Hope that he does. But I mean, I think there is some merit to what Paul is saying of like, the league has been more interesting. And to me, it's debatable why that's happening. But, I do think that there is something to that we're at least talking about the title being on the line in the last couple of games. Jeonbuk won before the split a couple of years ago. Like we were, it was like, oh, the league split. Who cares? So I think there's a little bit of merit to this.
Yeah, it's the point I was trying to make earlier when I got a little heated. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say, basically.
We kept the heat down in the bottom part so it'll rise up and get Matthew and me nice and warm.
I mean, I can't really. I'm not in a position to talk, am I? Really, but I do think it's just it has been a better race these years. But I also think that comes with better investment as well from sides. And yeah, we did mention Jeonbuk has invested a lot in the summer, but that's come at the expense of selling a lot of players in the winter. But Ulsan have also invested. They've invested in the January. They've invested last season as well, heavily bringing in Jeonbuk. Well, that was a loan. Okay, so I'll take that one back. But you look at other teams as well, and you go down to the second division. Daejeon, okay, they've invested. It made it exciting for a bit. Jeju have signed well. I think it's hard to. I understand everybody wants Jeonbuk to lose. That's no surprise to me, and wow. I know. Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, it's hard because you want teams to keep investing. Mm-hmm. You want teams to have that money cycling through the league now. Okay, yeah, maybe you don't want multi-million conglomerates coming in. Well, they are multi-million conglomerates, but owners coming in. Some people don't like that. That's fine, but there has to be investment if the league's ever going to grow. And I think, yeah, okay, I don't know the answer for citizen clubs. Daegu's your answer. That's your answer for citizen clubs. But I think all of this has culminated nicely in the last season. I thought, especially with the title race as it was, and Daegu doing Daegu things with their new stadium and making things exciting there. So I don't know.
Yeah. But this is why titles matter, because if somebody else gets a title, then that's a proof of concept. If Daegu gets a title, that's a proof of that concept. If Ulsan get this title, it's a proof of that concept. So we need other teams to win. But I'll let us move on. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah. Okay. If by we he means neutral fans, then fair enough. Yeah, I'm with it. So, yeah, I won that trophy.
my team's owned by a steel company. I can't complain about anything in this segment.
Michael, point out your team. Well,
look, we have a pizza mall and we have a shoe shop and a shopping mall. So I'm saying nothing on this.
Okay, well, Steve Price, will home advantage mean anything in the title decider with fans in the stadium but not allowed to chant? So I guess he's talking about our game and not Jeju Su one. I think it will help. It won't bother Jeonbuk. I'd cheekily say Ulsan play better when nobody's watching.
if last year hadn't happened, where we actually won more games than Jeonbuk, then yeah. But yeah, definitely, I'm absolutely pumped for it. I haven't been to a game at Munsu for over a year now, because unfortunately we moved stadium last year because of some refurbishments. So I cannot wait to get back there. And to be honest, I'm less nervous about it because I'm going. I'd be dreading this game if I was watching it on TV. But the fact that I'm going to be at the stadium watching them, supporting them in whatever way I can, I'm pumped for it. And I think most fans will be the same. There's 8,000 tickets, and as it stands, there's only a couple of thousands left, I think. So even though we have to be social distanced and everything, the fans are going to show up. So I think it's definitely an advantage. Players will, they'll see what they're fighting for. They want to celebrate in front of their fans. So I think it's definitely an advantage.
I think to add to that as well, like I was at Anyang on the weekend, which is an away game. But the Anyang fans, you're allowed to clap. You're allowed to not cheer, but you're allowed to stomp your feet and make some noise. And there was a point during that game where Elan couldn't get the ball, and you could hear and feel the fans' electricity basically go through the stadium. So I think it's a big advantage. Even if they're chanting or not, the fans are there. They just think of another way to get to you. So I think it's definitely an advantage to have you in there.
Especially this year when they haven't been there most of the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up, we have, and we're keeping with the Jeonbuk thing. We are going to drop down to K2 in a minute, but there's one more Jeonbuk question. It's from Lex Nande on Twitter. Gustavo is helping build up balls into the box, but isn't scoring. Will that be good enough against Ulsan next week? Well, possibly. Give real committal answers on this one.
That's what we brought you in for, Bins.
I mean, it'd be lovely if he was scoring. He has been scoring. He missed an absolute sitter against Gwangju, though. I couldn't believe free header and miles over the bar. But yeah, Jeonbuk do spread the goals around. There's threats all over the pitch, as we mentioned. So yeah, if Gustavo has a couple of off weeks, but he can still, help create, then that's fine as long as he's contributing. I mean, Dave Bultwees is absent. Kim Ki-hee is obviously it's not exactly easy to get past, but
MLS champion Kim Ki-hee uses full title. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You have to say the whole thing.
MLS. Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't refer to what I was going to refer to, but yes. No, but I think it is still an advantage not having Dave Bultwees, I think, to Mark Gustavo, although then again, based on Pohang, maybe not. But Kim Ki-hee will still provide decent defending on him. I'd like him to be scoring, but as long as he's helping set them up. I mean, we looked at Kim Shin-wook, and I know Lex will really appreciate that comparison. But Kim Shin-wook, he wasn't scoring as many when he moved to Jeonbuk, but his role became more of a support striker than the main outlet for the goals. And if Gustavo can emulate the great Kim Shin-wook, then we'll be in fine hands this weekend.
We all dream.
We all dream. Right, we have a question in from Dajan Citizen Football Club Brazil. Is it more probable than that Incheon escape relegation or Ulsan lose the title? I'll put this to all three of you.
Michael, you have.
I think there's more chance of Man United winning in Paris this evening. I don't know, because do you remember I was on a podcast earlier on the season and I said, put my house on it, put everything on it, Incheon are going down. They didn't win a single game, and every year they're just making it more difficult and more difficult and more difficult, and then they do that. But at the same time, throwing it to Dan, you always seem to lose against Pohang when you need it most.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't really need to beat them this time, but I mean, the fixtures did it for us. I love the fact that we didn't face Pohang on the final day. Didn't want that whole thing to happen again. It's kind of awkwardly phrased, this question, but I'm going for Incheon are more likely to get relegated than Ulsan.
Well, you should say that, because the other option is Ulsan lose the title. Well,
yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to give it the big one tonight, but I mean, there's a good chance we lose, isn't there? Unfortunately.
No, Dan, you stick with it. Just like I will stick with Incheon. The Great Escape is always on. Never doubt Incheon. They're going to make it. They're going to do this thing. And I think this weekend's match might end in a draw, and we're going to have to go down to next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that might happen.
Could happen, yeah.
I think that might happen. But I do think I think Incheon's got a really good chance because Busan just can't do much right now, and Incheon can, and Incheon's already proven they can beat Seoul this year. So those are two more favorable matches, in my opinion, than Songnam, who has to go to Suwon and inform Suwon, who's getting ready for the ACL, who looks good right now, and that's a rivalry. And Songnam they don't have it right now. And then on the final match day, they're going to have to face Busan, who I expect to be relegation threatened at the time. And I think when you put those two against each other, I think Busan is probably going to come out on top just based on current form. But now that I've said that, Songnam will win 2 matches in a row.
Well, yeah. Death and taxes is like Jeonbuk winning the league and Incheon surviving. So the both are inevitable at some point. But if you're talking about it, I do think Ulsan probably are more likely to win the title. How's it worded again? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
It's either or. Is Incheon going to get relegated, or is Ulsan going to drop points and lose the title?
That is actually quite difficult
riveting.
When you really think about it. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on. Pass, everyone. Right. Devon Rowcliffe with the final question in today's Ulgi Luis mailbag. Coming in hot here. Since there's no relegation from K-League 2, what would be a fitting castigation for the loser of the Ansan? But he's put the N in brackets, so he could mean Asan. Wooden Spoon Classic. Perhaps entry into the 2021 Korean FA Cup from the amateur qualifying rounds, or participate in a relaunched President's Cup tournament as a pre-season. So he's basically asking, what should we do with the bottom club?
I actually really like this concept that there's some kind of punishment of sorts. I mean, I think the proper punishment is obviously we open up the pyramid, because I think K3 and K4 are ready for it. But in the meantime, I do like the idea of there being some kind of punishment for the bottom team or the bottom 2 teams in K2. If it's coming into the FA Cup earlier, I don't think that's really much of a punishment, but maybe they have to play their FA Cup game away, or I don't know what it would be, but I do like the idea of there being something on the line, something that you would want to avoid.
I've got a couple of ideas here. I think either we should be able to design their kits for the season. I mean, by fan vote, or a fan vote on renaming the club for a season. Might be fun.
Look, we came last 2 years in a row. We wouldn't be a team anymore if Dead Concepts came into play. We'd be playing in stripy blue and yellow and purple and be named, I don't know what, Seoul Emart or something. So, no, I don't agree with either of them.
Stripy blue, stripy navy, purple, yellow. I mean, wasn't that 2016's kit? Yeah.
Just red and green stripes. The 2 colours just don't go together.
Ooh, yeah.
The Christmas
kit. I like the idea of just a photorealistic cat just in the middle of the kit,
K-League United cat.
We're getting close enough with this shit saying that.
Exactly. No, rather than the leopard, just like a or one of those with no hair, one of those hairless what is it?
Oh boy. I mean, I think, Michael, you're perfectly suited for this. The perfect punishment for any team that loses K-League 2 would be to wear those things that Man United have to wear this year.
Good one.
Then zebra things. Look, we will go to Paris tonight, and then zebra-coloured stripes.
Oh my goodness, you are wearing those.
Look, yeah, interesting kit for Manchester United. Obviously, I'm representing Manchester here in the background. 2020 is the year of strange kits, and Manchester United have included themselves in that bag. I never thought I'd talk about the Reds on this podcast, but clearly I am.
That's it. That would be punishment enough. But I like this concept of there being some sort of punishment of sorts for finishing last. There's got to be something.
Well, can I say something actually with finishing last? Like, I would say just as far enough as saying just early rounds of the FA Cup, because if you look at the teams who finish 10th every year, they gut the players out, that they get rid of all the players, then rebuild again. So they have another shot at it, and it's like that club goes through a major change. I think Eland, the only team in the last 7 or 8 years who finished twice in a row. And after the second year finishing in 2019, 10th, they've gone, right, something needs to change. So put them in the FA Cup a little bit early, but I'd be happy with that, I'd say.
Yeah, I think they would just win that. So, I don't know what it is, unless it's the photorealistic version of my cat that they have to wear. Or again, the Man City or the Man U. Ugh. Man U away kits. Man City kits are nice. Sorry. Gotta do it. Anyway, I'm out. That's it.
Well, that's us out of the mailbag as well.
Oh, all right.
You get yourself out first, and then we'll all clamber out together.
Pave the way for others there. All right. Well, if you'd like to get involved with the podcast a little bit more, this rundown, this very, very full rundown was posted on Patreon a couple of days ago. We do that. We have Saturdays. We have full player interviews and a whole lot more going on there. Tiers start as low as $1. You can also get involved with $3 and $5 tiers. And if you'd like to listen live, you can do so every Thursday on Football Nation Radio down in Australia. And if you leave us a review wherever you download your podcasts, we're gonna no too close. Party casts. There it is. Whoo, you can tell we went long. We are the orange juice carton's out.
Making tea.
For those listening to the podcast, just go watch the last minute of this show. Anyway, leave us a review and you could win Kim Minu's Sangju Sangmu kit from last year. We're going to draw the winner for that live next week on the show when hopefully we have our facilities about us a little bit more. But for this week, for Dan Croydon, Michael Redmond, and Matthew Binns, I'm Ryan Walters. Thanks so much for listening.
정주성 공격 복귀 킹 신울